Hannibal. It has been a long time since I've done a Hannibal video. I think, like, maybe actually 6 months. I still never finished the series, and oddly enough, I've not really been spoiled. I don't even know how many people are going to care to watch these videos, but I promised I'd finish them off, so I'm going to do it. This is Season 3, Episode 10 of Hannibal. Its title is And the Woman Clothed in Sun. Let's do it.
I'm Hannibal Lecter's lawyer.
One moment, please.
It's good when you know how to hack into phones. Makes you a way more efficient killer. He's fanboying so hard for talking to Hannibal. It's kind of like he's LARPing, but also a murderer. They keep mentioning how he has like a speech impediment, and I don't hear it.
Did he who made the land make thee?
Oh, whoa, he's the devil. What was that?
The vague awareness of a needle bleeding into me. He never called me my name.
You're a liar.
My name was Lydia Fell.
You're the worst. You're bad.
You didn't lose yourself, Bedelia. You just crawled so far up his ass you couldn't be bothered.
Burn!
You're the bride of Frankenstein.
We've both been his bride.
Oh, burn back.
Wait.
They have to put him to sleep. If you want, you can touch him.
That'd be so cool. I want to do that.
It's almost bleeding into the air around him. It's radiant.
You know, he's got away with words. He could just totally be normal and not crazy. Just be a poet or something. He's acting like he's getting off on this, and it's weird.
Neatness that they like.
He really just leaves you talking to yourself. Rudest thing ever is to walk away when a blind person is talking to you. She's just going right for business. You slightly kiss someone and then you start undoing their pants. The good thing about being intimate with a blind person is you don't have to explain the giant Satan tattoo on your back. His fantasy of her looks like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters, when she's Zool. This blind chick's got really buff arms. Good for you. How is she not waking up when he's doing all this stuff? This great red dragon dude is built. How exactly is Hannibal able to mess with the phone? Like, is there no cameras in there? This is perfect. It's like exactly from the movies.
Well, Graham,
Yeah.
If he does end up eating you, Bedelia, you'd have it coming.
Burn.
but it wasn't phototherapy. He stuck me in front of a light, and I woke up somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not good.
Whatever this is why Scientologists hate psychiatry.
Just throw some random shade.
And yet, I want to crush it.
Wow, you're shady, honey.
This is culty and weird.
What are you choking on, bro? Why are you choking, dude? And why are you breaking my table? Oh, he bleeding. Don't reach your hand in there. He gonna bite you. Your hand should not go that far in someone's throat. Can you even put your hand that far in someone's throat? What? The F just happened.
The next time you have an instinct to help someone, you might consider crushing them instead.
You're like the worst psychiatrist ever.
The great red dragon and the woman clothed in sun.
Did the title of the episode. Oh, I love how their face and their reflection like matched up.
It appears he used chalk as well as...
Oh, he just got BAM right in the head. You know, you shouldn't be touching that. Your finger's gonna get all messy. You creepy, dude. It smells like a painting. Ew, ew. You gonna eat it? You nasty. I was thinking, like, how's he gonna smuggle that out? It is Tommy. He in the elevator. Look in the elevator. That look of a guy who just ate a painting. Guilty. He's strong. He's really gonna run up the stairwell instead of saying, hey, dude, can you just walkie the guy at the desk and tell him to stop whoever comes out of the elevator? Stupid! Alright, this episode starts with the dragony dude looking at himself in the mirror, working on words. I think he's naked again, as he usually is. He switches out his license plate, and then he goes to Hannibal's office, taps into the phone thing, calls, pretending to be Hannibal's lawyer, which is the phone call that we heard the beginning of in last episode. Then the rest of the phone call is kind of like he's seeing them sitting in Hannibal's office, and he's kind of just talking about how awesome he is and how awesome it'd be to meet Hannibal, and he's like the next generation, the next coming of Hannibal, who's the dragon. Hannibal's saying, you're not crazy, you're awesome. And then he sees himself as like the full-on dragon-y Satan-looking dude. Then Bedelia's given this big presentation to tons of these people saying, you know, she was kidnapped and probably drugged and like forced to believe she was not Bedelia when she was with Hannibal. Basically lying so she doesn't get in trouble. Will shows up, he meets her afterwards and he's like, hey, you liar. They talk about Hannibal and being close to him and how he went to see Hannibal and she hasn't. She also is like, yeah, Hannibal and I were like behind the veil. You were always on the other side of it. So I'm like, really? Trying to make him jealous? Hanging out with that dude? Then the red dragon dude takes the blind chick to the zoo because they have a tiger who's asleep because they're fixing his tooth. And he lets her go touch the tiger and he's just watching it like, oh, this is hot. She like touches the tiger's mouth and he looks like he's losing it because he's like, oh my gosh, she's touching mouths. You know, because he's all freaked out. He thinks his mouth is messed up. It ain't even that messed up. Calm down. Then later he's taking the blind chick home. She's making drinks and they're talking about the day and how cool it was. And she mentions that people at work don't really know him because they have questions about him. He's thinking they're all going to be talking crap about him. And she's like, no, I mean, they say you're like neat. You know, you're worried about your face when you really shouldn't be. He kind of walks away and sits down and she's like, where'd you go? I'm blind. She finds him though. She sits down, kisses him, and then starts going downtown. Afterwards, he jumps up, grabs her, takes her to the bedroom, they start pounding out. And then he kind of like has this vision where he's picturing her looking all cool, but she really did just look like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters as Zool. He wakes up in the morning, he's wigging out because she ain't there. He runs up and checks on that painting and, you know, painting's still there. He starts having a little freak out where he's like hearing stuff and junk like that. Then he goes downstairs. She's already ready. She's dressed. She's like, I gotta go. So he's like, okay, I'll take you home. Then we see Hannibal and it's a scene just like the movie where he gets a phone call, but then he like uses, I think, a gum wrapper or something and like hacks the phone so he can make an outgoing call. He calls Chilton's office and kind of like talks and lies to one of the secretaries and gets her to give Will Graham's address to him. Then there's a shot of Will in Bedelia's office and they're talking it out and it's just more of their like fancy word poetry that goes on for like a long time, but the message only is pretty simple. They talk about the morality of things and how some things are moral to some people. And it's just nature. We have in our nature to be good and to be bad. They're both natural things to different people. She mentions like an analogy of if you saw a bird on the street that was hurt, what would you do? And he's like, I would think it was vulnerable, so I'd help it. And she's like, I would think it was vulnerable, so I would crush it. She said, of course she doesn't, but that natural impulse she has is natural. She's crazy. This whole conversation is intercut with flashbacks of her with Zachary Quinto's character. And he's a dude who has been like hurt by Hannibal because he went to go get treatment for lack of sleep and paranoia and anxious crap. Made him way worse because Hannibal's crazy. He said at one point Hannibal was blinking lights at him and he fell asleep and woke up in a different place. So he was like, Hannibal only prescribed me drugs and effed with me. So Hannibal has recommended Bedelia and she's just as crazy. And one thing about Hannibal and Bedelia, they make their patients feel crazier. Bedelia waxes on some more with Will about how, you know, compassion and empathy and crushing things and love and how they're all kind of symbiotic in a certain way. Then back to the flashback with Zachary Quinto guy. He's like yelling at her about stuff and she's like, dude, sit down. And he starts choking and she fights with him to clear his airway, but then she just reaches elbow deep in his mouth. First of all, is this just her recollection of being crazy? Or are we supposed to believe she reached her elbow into some guy's mouth? Either way, he dies. Then when she's talking to Will, she also mentions, like, does your wife know about how intimately connected you were with Hannibal? And he's like, she knows enough. Then Bedelia tells Will that next time he feels inclined to help something, he might just want to crush it to save himself some trouble. Then Will is visiting Hannibal and he has a picture of that thing that was carved in the tree, I believe. They talk about how it's a character that means you hit it, which is basically like a gambling term. But it's also a mahjong tile, which means the Great Red Dragon. He talks about the Great Red Dragon and how he's like, you know, kind of consuming these families, which are the best things he's known. And with each one, he's getting stronger and becoming more of the Great Red Dragon. Hannibal says he doesn't think the guy's crazy. He thinks the guy's pretty cool, actually. Then we see that the Great Red Dragon dude has gone to a museum. He's using a fake name and he wants to see the original picture of the dragon that made him go all crazy in the first place. He gets taken downstairs by some museum lady and she opens up the thing and she's like, look at it, it's really cool. And he just like smacks her in the back of the head, knocks her out, drags her away, holds up the painting and is like, oh my god, it's glorious, and then starts eating it to absorb its power, I'm sure. Then Will shows up at the museum, and the guy in the lobby is like, yeah, you're the second person that's wanted to see this today. Will and some museum dude take the elevator down, and then he's looking around for the chick, like, hey, we need to show off this painting, where is she? The one dude's looking for the chick, and behind Will, you see a dragon dude get into the elevator. Will's, like, turns, and he kind of sees the guy's foot, and as he goes into the elevator, they, like, look at each other for a second. Dragon dude picks him up, starts throwing him around, throws him back into the room, and closes the elevator. Now, logically speaking, you'd think, hey, Will, you're still in a room with a guy who works in the museum, possibly has the walkie-talkie. People in buildings like that sometimes do. At least a phone. Maybe even just shout, hey, tell the security to keep an eye on the elevator and stop the guy. But instead, Will's like, I'm gonna take the stairs. He takes the stairs, runs up into the lobby, dragon dude nowhere to be seen, and then credits. It's cool, I've said it before, I really like how much of the books and the movies they put into things. So it's fun to watch. I'm excited. The show's been off the air so long and I still haven't caught up, so this is new to me. So what do you guys think of this episode? If I forgot anything, left anything out, you want to talk about it, if there's anyone still out there watching, drop a comment. Don't forget to do things. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Until next time.